Bandar, directed by Anurag Kashyap and co-directed by Sakshi Mehta, is a provocative drama about a has-been television actor who claims to be falsely accused of rape. Through his harrowing ordeal, the film exposes multiple fault lines in society: one-sided laws, an indifferent justice system, the dismal conditions of Indian jails, and sharp commentaries on media politics and power. It is exactly what you would expect from a Kashyap. A tough watch that shows reality without Instagram filters. The film opens with a close up of Bobby Deol in a typical slow motion shot, the kind reserved for stars. Within a minute, however, we see him performing at a Delhi wedding where nobody is even looking at him. In one deft scene, Kashyap establishes everything: a man who has been popular once, now struggling, yet still posting rose tinted Instagram updates about how the great show he had. The sad, hollow look on Bobby's face does all the heavy lifting, and it works brilliantly because of what can only be called as a meta casting. As an audience, we are acutely aware that Bobby Deol himself has lived a version of this story, from being a big Bollywood star to years of near invisibility to his extraordinary resurrection post Animal. The real life parallel gives his performance a lived in authenticity and no amount of acting can manufacture. Samar Mehra is a 50-year-old man struggling to pay his EMIs, yet stubbornly refusing every TV offer that comes his way. Delusion about landing a big screen comeback as a leading man. He dates a much younger girlfriend whose social life makes him deeply insecure. He constantly monitors her whereabouts, seeking reassurance he never quite finds. At home, a permanent maid cooks and takes care of him. A small but telling detail. Kashyap and Mehta weave all of these threads together with economy and precision to paint a portrait of a man who is good looking but duplicitous, charming but hollow, someone who craves validation at every turn yet is fundamentally incapable of offering it to others. Before the actual story begins, we are already established about his mindset. There is a beautiful shot of Summer standing on his high rise balcony, silently watching other people's homes, families at dinner, couples together, and in that stillness, you feel the full weight of his loneliness. It is a rare moment of genuine sympathy for him and shows the lonely life in a major metro. Then, out of nowhere, the police come knocking. The sequence from his arrest to the police station is where you see peak Kashyap. Nobody captures the cold, mundane brutality of Indian police system quite like him. Samar is not even told what he has been arrested for until well after the fact. There is no explanation, no opportunity to speak, just humiliation, confusion, and helplessness. It is a chilling sequence precisely because it feels entirely plausible. In this country, if you lack proximity to power or unwilling to bribe your way out, you can be effortlessly strong armed into submission. And perhaps that is exactly why so many people remain so differential to this in those in power, because they have seen or felt or feared exactly this. Amidst all this chaos, Kashyap manages to slip in a moment of understated humor. The constable escorting Samar in the police jeep suddenly recognizes him and immediately makes a video call to his completely disinterested wife, excitedly showing off his famous passenger. It is a small throwaway moment, but it lands as one of the sharpest observations in the film. We Indians have a peculiar relationship with fame. We may not know his man's work, may not even like him, but the mere fact of his celebrity status is currently currency enough to flaunt, even if the man in question is being hauled away as a potential criminal. Kashyap doesn't underline or milk it for laughs. He just lets it be there, uncomfortably funny and entirely true. As Samar is questioned, the rape charges are slowly laid out before us, and we are introduced to his sister, played by Sanya Malhotra, through whom some key details begin to emerge. The film then makes its most gutting shift into the prison. Here, Samar finds himself among hundreds of under trials who have not been convicted of anything yet, are languishing for years in conditions that can only be described as inhuman. This is where Kashyap and co-director Sakshi Mehta's unfiltered gaze is at its most confronting. The dirt, the unbearable overcrowding, cockroaches crawling across the floor, shots of open toilets, nothing is sanitized, nothing is looked away from. I found myself closing my eyes more than once. It is quite deliberately difficult to watch, and that is precisely the point. These are not fictional horrors. This is a reality of incarnation in India, and Kashyap forces you to sit with that discomfort rather than let you off the hook. Through this ordeal, we are gradually introduced to the accuser Gayatri, played by Sapna Pabbi. The film makes no bones about whose corner it is standing in. This is a very deliberately told from Samar's perspective, and that is both its boldest choice and its most deliberate one. Bandar positions itself to showcase the flip side of the Me Too movement. Gayatri is established mostly through Samar's eyes as overpossessive and emotionally volatile. Someone who stalks him and floods him with texts even as he's clearly ghosting her. The film suggests that Samar's only failing was his inability to be honest with her, to simply end things with clarity. A reflection of the immature, conflict avoiding personality we have already been established with. As with all his films, Kashyap's casting is impeccable. Sanya Malhotra as Samar's frustrated yet fiercely loyal sister is superb. Every scene she is in crackles with a raw, restrained energy. The supporting cast from the police officers to the prison inmates, one of whom is played by the excellent Raj B. Shetty, all deliver without a single false note. But it is Sapna Pabbi as Gayatri who is extraordinary. What makes her portrayal so effective is not just her acting, but the thoughtfulness in her appearance. The way she is dressed, and particularly the bindis she wears, all contribute to establishing her somewhat slightly off kilter, existing in her own world. I never realized until this film just how much impact a small detail like a bindi could carry. It is a masterclass in costume and character working in perfect harmony. And yet, towering above everything is Bobby Deol. This is unquestionably a role of a lifetime, and he surrenders himself completely into Kashyap's world without inhibition. Vulnerable, helpless, delusional, and deeply sad. He holds the entire film on his shoulders and never once lets it drop. Bandar is clearly a powerful film, but it comes with a caveat. This is not a conventional watch. If you are okay with a docudrama style of filmmaking, with its unflinching focus on the prison system and judicial process itself being portrayed as a form of punishment, then this will stay with you long after you leave the theater. However, if you are expecting a traditional narrative arc of a conclusive ending, you will need to recalibrate your expectations. Kashyap is not interested in a resolution, he is interested in provocation. Bandar is a hard hitting, uncomfortable film that asks a lot of questions but has no answers. If you are okay with this, then you can go and watch it. Otherwise, it's not for you.